Don't get me wrong. On paleo, I felt great too, but there was something different when I added animal based. I just felt like I had so much more energy, so much more like zest for life. I was ready to face the day every day. My skin was it's shiny, it's like glowing. Like I'm like, wow, like my mom, like literally we were at dinner and she was like, she's like, what are you doing different? And I was like, oh, I started this new thing. I was like, I'm eating animal based. And she was like, you look different. Like she's like, you just look so good. She's like, no, she didn't look good before, but she's like, you just look so happy, so healthy.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is still your daily dose of education, entertainment, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. If you've been following along, you know that Taylor and I are both bodybuilders using the carnivore diet. This year is her year to step on stage for the very first time, although I have promised not to compete again until I have a better chance of becoming an IFBB pro. Zion, our 1-year-old Australian Shepherd, who is laying down next to my feet. She always is during our podcast recordings. She and I have decided to run a marathon this year and to see how far the human body can be pushed using a meat-based diet. So check this out. After 3 weeks of marathon training and lean bulking on the carnivore diet, I knew just the lady to reach out to for insights. Enter Duffy the Paleovore, aka Erica Duffy. She is a carnivore nurse, lifter, runner, and positive vibes practitioner. She believes in making Mondays great again. I love that. And she has carved out some of her time in her very busy schedule to share her experiences with you so that you can superset your life. Everybody, please welcome Erica to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. I am amped for this conversation. Okay, so let's just jump right into it.
Do it.
Okay, is running something that you enjoy because it's therapeutic, or do you run for cardiovascular health? A little bit of both. What does that look like?
So I would say it's a little, probably right now it's a little bit of both. But how I got started into running is actually like more because it was therapeutic. When I was in my,
oh my gosh, younger... I'm the same way.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. When I was in my younger 20s, I actually had really bad acne. Like all of a sudden, like broke out into really bad acne. Nothing fixed it. No medicine, no topical cream, nothing. So I had to unfortunately go on the medicine Accutane. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it has some like really severe side effects. And it really it's an intense medication. So I really didn't feel good on it, but it was the only thing working to clear up my skin. So I started running. And I noticed that was the only thing that actually made me feel better. Like I would just run literally for just miles. I was just like, and I finally was like, oh, like, you know, like that runner's high, like the first time I experienced that, I was just like, oh my God, like I said, I can breathe again.
It's so euphoric, isn't it?
It is. It's just like this, like, oh, like you just got like, I just put everything out on the trail. I do not run on a treadmill. So anybody who does, more power to you, but I can't. Nope, I could. It's like a hamster wheel. I
can't do it either.
I can't do it. I don't care how cold it is outside. I have to run outside. But yeah, so for me, it just kind of started off as like a mental health thing, honestly, just to make me feel better. And then it turned into, well, let's see what happens if I eat better. Let's see what happens if I start lifting. So like running kind of introduced me to healthy lifestyle. Here I am.
Amen. Yeah, I used to run quite a bit in high school for track and for long distance running, because I always just felt great when I would run long distance, but I was always like the slowest guy, and so started lifting, and then focusing more on hockey and football because those are my strengths. But I'm the exact same way. There's something about being outside, taking deep breaths, and I mean, on paper, it's catabolic. Apparently, it makes you lose muscle mass and store fat in your lower abs and like all these things that running technically is supposed to do. But at the end of the day, if it makes you feel good and it's therapeutic and you're sleeping better, I mean, that definitely lowers your cortisol levels. So that sounds like a net win.
I agree. And I mean, I always say sometimes running doesn't work for people, and that's okay. And like, it's just do what makes you happy all the time. For us, running is a happy thing, but if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. But you should try it at least once.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like it started from there, and then you said that it that led into going, oh, there's other types of exercise that are maybe healthier than just like chronically running and banging up my knees day after day. At least, for me, I experience a lot of joint pain the longer I run. But how did you get into lifting? What started that?
So, well, I actually ended up losing like 40 pounds when I started running. So, like, all this weight kind of fell off. And I was like, well, now I'm just like skin and bones. So I was like, no, I need to start doing other stuff. And side note, like, funny, I've never been a vegan per se, but I was eating literally like salads all the time. Like, so I literally was not eating like any good meat. Learned that lesson the hard way, but it's okay. But and I was like, you know what? Like, I need to start building muscle mass. Like, I need to start lifting. And I just started going to like the nearest closest Planet Fitness and just started lifting. I wasn't really like in it to win it per se. I just kind of was winging it. But started to fall in love with the community and started to fall in love with that like gym lifestyle and going. And that actually, like, I ended up pursuing my first degree is in health and exercise science. I'm actually a second degree nurse. So my first degree is in health and exercise science. I was a personal trainer. Like, so running literally gave me my first career. Running started everything for me,
Mhm.
which is awesome. Like, running is why I'm sitting here today.
Good stuff. What are some of your favorite exercises in the gym as far as resistance training goes?
Oh God, I love lower body. I am your typical girl who loves lower body. um,
I tagged you in that post this morning, right?
yes,
With the glute
with
exercise. Okay,
the
good.
hip thrust. Yes, you did. And I was like, yes, hip thrusts for the win because they're a great exercise. I work with a personal trainer now once a week. He's a really good friend of mine. He kind of taught me how to be a personal trainer. He's been training for years. He's a great, great guy. But I out with him and we do full bodies, like days. But I like love doing long bar squats. I love doing leg presses, like because my legs are strong. I can lift a good amount of weight. So I think that just makes me feel good
Mhm.
inside. Um, but I am learning to love upper body days. I do love them. I love like shoulder presses, military presses. I love a good lat pull down. I like back and shoulders, probably my favorite day. Chest presses. I'm so weak in my chest, so it just makes me sad, but I will keep trying.
No, sounds like you're crushing it. Uh, and you're not like overly big and bulky from doing all those big compound lifts, like people think,
No.
like people think will typically happen, right?
Yeah, they do. I think a lot of women too. I think a lot of women are like intimidated by, some of these girls who are big and bold. They're so strong and they look great too. And I don't think anybody should think like that's not a good look because for them, for that person, it is a good look and that's important to them. So leave them alone. But no, you can lift heavy and have a nice, I'm petite, I'm 5'3". Like you can have a nice, lean, muscular body. It's possible. It's just about certain ways of training. That's it. That's all it comes down to.
Mhm. Absolutely. So one of the biggest concerns that I think a lot of people have when it comes to starting a workout program is making sure that they're fueled properly. And you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you totally need carbs." And we were just talking about this before we started recording. And a lot of people, which sounds like someone that's you that prefers to have carbs in your diet, and you perform very well on it. Um, have you found that restricting yourself to only paleo foods has been something that has increased your performance, decreased your performance? How does that relate to how you're doing in the gym and with your running?
So yeah, that's actually a really good question. I need carbs to perform. Like you said, I need them personally.
Mhm.
But the way I'm eating, I call it like, as obviously I call myself a paleovore. So I have mix of paleo and a mix of like animal based in there. My training has gone to a whole nother level. My body, my physique has gone to a whole nother level ever since introducing one, more red meat. Number one thing I did was introduce more red meat to my
Wow.
diet. Yeah. And two, lowered my carbs. As a strict paleo person, I was eating vegetables all the time, like every day with every meal. Not to get me, I love vegetables. But I was eating a lot of carbs. Now I've definitely decreased my carb intake and increased my protein intake. And that's when I noticed a difference, is not eating as many carbs, but still having them in my diet, but increasing the protein.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in a very good way, you just opened a big can of worms. Now I'm really curious. So, when it comes to your uh, carb timing, is that before and after your workouts? Do you carb backload? Do you have a specific timing strategy about when you consume carbs, since they're so since they're less now in proportion to having more meat in your diet?
I'm like very intuitive when I eat. Like I just like today, I haven't eaten a meal yet. Like I've just kind of fasted. Like I worked out, but yeah,
Same.
like I just kind of like I just haven't been hungry today. So I'm like, that's okay. I can just like I don't know, just eat when I eat. But I'll have a good amount of carbs with my dinner tonight. But sometimes I do like if I'm gonna run, it either needs to be high carb the night before, or it needs to be like at least a little bit of a carb before I run, like a half hour before I run. So I would say I do a little bit of everything. Sometimes I preload and carb up. Sometimes I do it later. Sometimes I don't do it at all. Sometimes I just eat eggs. Like honestly, I just kind of listen to what my body needs. And I've learned that over the course of trying different ways of eating, is that I've learned what my body thrives on and what it needs and what it doesn't need in this time. And today it really hasn't needed much fuel. So I'm okay with it.
Wow, that's fascinating. I'm trying. You seem like you really have something down that I'm trying to get a lot better at personally, and that is intuitive eating. And because I'm very OCD, very regimented, right? So every single day it's right now it's 3,300 calories. About 60% of my calories coming from fat, 40% coming from protein. That kind of seems to be a sweet spot as far as like being able to shoot YouTube videos every day and have and maintain a decent physique. But I wish I had the ability to be more dynamic and more flexible in regards to what to eat and when. So I think this is something I would like to talk more about. Actually, how do you know? Is it do you go based on like how hungry you are, what you're craving?
It's more about hunger. For me, it's just kind of like if I'm really, really hungry, that like on my 12-hour shift days, I'm hungry. I know I need to eat breakfast before I go into work. I need to have lunch and I'm gonna be hungry after, so I'm gonna have dinner. They
So
might be
sorry to cut you off. So you probably do like
oh,
3 12-hour shifts and then like a couple days off and like 3 days on, 3 days off, something like that, right? Is probably
it
what
all depends. It depends on the week.
okay.
But yes, I do three 12-hour shifts.
Okay.
So and it's not like I'm sitting at a desk for 12 hours. I'm working. I'm in an intensive care unit. I'm working. I mean, some of my kids are sick. Sometimes I don't sit. Sometimes I do sit. It really just depends on the day. But it's more
It
like
sounds like you don't have time to sit down and eat like 5 meals a day, perfectly timed.
not at all, which is kind of, I think, why I became intuitive as well, because it was kind of like you don't really have, like, I don't have the time to just be like, well, before I work out, I can do this before, like, I don't have that access, I guess you can say. Like I don't have that time. So for me, it's just like, you need to fuel before you go to work. You need to fuel halfway during your shift, and you need to fuel before bed.
Mhm.
Now, depending on like if I don't sit down to eat until like 4 o'clock, because I'm a day shifter. So if I don't eat till 4 p.m., 5 p.m., I may not be so hungry when I get home. So it may just be bone broth that night before I go to sleep, because I also don't love to eat like a really heavy meal right before bed. Like I need, like my body likes to digest. And I've noticed a huge difference in my body with that too. I don't bloat so much anymore. I don't like, cause I used to just like stuff my face, go to bed, wake up, go to work the next day.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And it's just like for me, like my body is like, oh, hold on, time out. I need a moment to like, I need you to sit up and I need you to let me digest for like an hour. It's like, it's like the old saying, like, don't swim before, like, don't go swimming after you eat. Like, I feel like I can't go to sleep unless I've like, you know, ate an hour ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so funny because some people are like you to where I mean one size doesn't fit all, obviously, and some people are like you to where it's like not going to bed on a full stomach is going to help you have a better night's sleep, which is actually what this book right here by Sean Stevenson called Sleep Smarter says, and it cites studies, and it is definitely science definitely agrees with you.
Yes.
For me it's more of a practical thing, and it's more of a bodybuilding thing, and so that's kind of why I like, especially with the higher protein, I'm finding just better gym performance personally. But I know that my sleep isn't what it should be because I'm consuming food so late at night. I mean, last night was refeed night too, and so we had some just quick funny story. We had some of our best friends from church over last night, and they were just like, how much meat are you gonna eat? And we had the smoker out, we had chicken thighs, we had pork belly. I mean, we had all kinds of stuff. And then finally Buff, his name is Buff, he finally he goes, Colt, like, I'm not just gonna sit here for another hour while you're still eating this giant meal. But yeah, no, a lot of especially carnivores and the keto crowd seem to gravitate more towards 1 or 2 or 3 meals a day. And they're usually quite large. So I'm curious if intermittent fasting is something that you do, and if that's something that's something you practice.
Yeah, so I was practicing it right when I started. I did animal-based 30, which is how I kind of got into like the animal-based part of my diet. I was doing it because my body was like in shell shock, like eating, first of all, I hardly ate red meat. And this is like, and it's funny because I have low B12. Like my body does not absorb B12, which is a huge vitamin found in red meat.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
Yes.
I've never heard of that before. That's
Yep.
wow.
It's like, I mean, it will, but it's very little amounts. And I like got really, really sick because my B12 was so low. My doctor was like, oh my God, like this is like deathly low. Like I had to get like B12 shots, but my body just, it cannot, like, it just will not absorb it. But I started eating red meat and holy moly, do I feel phenomenal. Like a steak a
Huh.
day keeps the doctor away. I feel fantastic. So, but I was eating like these big, like this big meal. So I'm having like steak and eggs. Like I was like, my friends are like, oh my God, that's such a manly meal. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a bro now. But I'm having these like
But I
huge
think
meals.
society is more accepting of that now. Like that like 10 years ago, it was in fashion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like it was kind of more in fashion for women to be skinny and to be
Yeah.
eating salads. And now it's like Instagram is just filled with ladies that are on the carnivore diet, not meat-based diets, and that are lifting weights and looking amazing and feeling good about themselves, feeling confident.
Yeah. And I love it. Like, I'm like, yes, like I love seeing these girls just like chow down on like a very raw, like a very rare like steak. I'm like, yeah, eat that alive cow. I love it.
My wife is the same way. Yeah, no,
Yep. I'm like,
yeah,
I love
she's
it.
big in the ribeyes.
Yep. I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, so it just kind of became like, oh my God, I'm not hungry. Like, I'm not hungry right now. Like, I wouldn't be hungry for 16 hours because I'm just putting all this protein in my body. So sometimes I do intermittent fast. Sometimes I'm not eating for 24 hours. Sometimes I haven't eaten for 16 and I'll eat for 8. But with working at the bedside as a nurse, it is hard for me to do that, especially for those 3 days because I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm doing cardio and then I'm going to work for a 12-hour shift. So, and then it's like I'm starving by the time I come home too, because I've just expelled all this energy. Like not only did I work out before work, I also just worked on my feet for 12 hours. Um, so it really just depends. But I was sticking to intermittent fasting and I have to be honest, I noticed some really good results doing intermittent fasting. I leaned out quickly because of it. So when people say they're doing it, I support it.
Wow. You know who you really remind me of is Melanie Avalon. Have you ever heard of her?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, she's got a she's got her own podcast and she's big into biohacking and everything. So she has a biohacking podcast called the Melanie Avalon Biohacking Podcast. It's how I heard about Wim Hof actually. She had Wim Hof on her show. But she's a good friend of ours too, and we've exchanged podcast appearances a couple times. But her book What When Wine is about paleo foods, intermittent fasting, and wine. And Taylor and I don't really drink anymore, but I just it's funny, and you two kind of look similar. She's an
She's like my soul. I feel like she's like my soul sister because I like
yeah, I feel like I'm talking to
only
Melanie again.
yeah, the only stuff I drink is wine. Like at this point in time in my life, I
Really?
really don't drink much. I'm a social drinker, I guess you can say. It doesn't make me feel good anymore. I mean, I guess once you're about to hit 30, like things go downhill. So here I am.
Oh, don't say
um,
that. Yeah, I just turned 32.
yeah, so I turned 30 this year, so I'm like, oh boy, here we go. It's all downhill. But I have a glass of wine sometimes with dinner. Sometimes I need a glass of wine before I do my reels on Instagram because I need to like a little liquid a little liquid courage. So, but it's not something I do a lot just because it's not, it is what it is. But if I'm drinking wine.
Absolutely. What are your favorite wines?
So I'm here in New Jersey. So anybody who's listening, if you're in New Jersey, visit Valenzano. Valenzano Winery is my favorite wine. It's a dry, like they have a lot of dry whites. I don't drink red. Red gives me a headache, but
Oh
dry
wow.
white.
Okay. My wife is the opposite. Whites give her headaches and she's all about the heavy reds like the Malbecs.
Yep. That's I'm a Pinot fan. That's mostly it. I like Pinot.
Okay.
It's my
That's
favorite.
interesting. So if you're more of a white wine girl, then you probably don't pair it with red meat then, right?
I don't. I do not. I like my glass of water with dinner, with lunch, dinner. Water's important, so I'm just drinking that. It's actually funny. I don't tend to drink a lot with dinner. Like I'm just so focused on eating that I just drink like later.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is Melanie and I were talking about this too, the last conversation that we had, but we are speculating like what time would be the best for when to consume alcohol. And what we think, I mean, there's no scientific way to prove this, but if you're going to consume alcohol, especially on a meat-based diet, it makes more sense to me that it would be after a meal. I'm curious if you've thought of it this way before, but after a meal would by that point you've already got your fats and your proteins and everything, and so you're
Yes.
not going to have as big of an insulin spike because that
Right.
alcohol can't get stored as fat. But if it's before the meal, it'll definitely spike your insulin because you're on an empty stomach, and then you're more likely to store that meal as fat. I don't know, that makes sense to me. I'm curious if you've ever thought of it that way.
I haven't thought of it that way, but I like it. I mean, I think I agree with it, and I think I would like I tend not to drink before, I tend to drink either with or after. Um, Sometimes that I'm a snacker while I cook. Like I tend to be eating while I'm snacking, like eating while I'm cooking.
I'm the
So
same way too.
it's like, I don't know. So sometimes I'm like have a glass of wine in my hand, I'm like eating a steak. But it's so rare, like such a rare time. Usually I'm enjoying it on the couch afterwards after I've done everything.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So steak. It sounds like we have steak in common. I mean, we're
Uh,
huge steak fans too. Every Friday night for Taylor and I is date night, and we're either having someone over or it's just the two of us. But it's always steak night. So what are your favorite cuts of steak?
I'm a huge ribeye fan. Like you said earlier, like ribeye. I love a good ribeye. It just has like that really good like fat to it, and it's just it's so good. It's so easy to cook. I'm in an apartment, so and I have PTSD for like setting off this fire alarm because I'm not kidding you. Like you set off this fire alarm, everybody can hear you. Like it's so embarrassing to me. So I think it's like the easiest one to cook too without like setting off the place.
Yeah, no, we've done that so many times here, and we invested like $5,000 into this because I mean it's fire safety. It's like we like to be able to sleep at night and make sure that our entire house is safe and everything. We got an open fireplace. I mean, we got toddlers, a dog. It's like there's a lot of commotion in here, and so we thought that it was a good investment, and we're happy that we have it. But Boy, oh boy, when that thing goes off, it wakes the dead. It's
Yeah.
oh, we got alarms that shake the bed. We got alarms throughout the house. I mean, we got them everywhere. And when those things go off, it's bad. And the thing that sucks is our kids are always asleep at that time too. So then like they wake up and they're all scared because we like to enjoy our food. When the kids are asleep, that's the time to sit down
Yeah.
and enjoy a steak, right? When you can relax and breathe a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. So, my next question was just going to be, what does a typical day of eating look like for you? I know we've already talked about that, but yeah, I mean, from start to finish, just like a normal day, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so usually I tend to take a day off and I prep. So usually my prep is pretty darn simple now. I always do ground beef. Um, I brown my ground beef. Sometimes I do like a chuck roast. And if you've never tried a chuck roast, oh my God, that's also really, really good. I throw that in the crock pot, some bone broth on there, and just let it go for 8 hours. And that's that. So I have like my meats for the most part, and I like chicken thighs. I'm a huge chicken thigh fan. And I think I saw in your story the
That's
other
like all
day.
I'm eating right now.
Yes, like I was like he'll be on board with me and my chicken thighs. I love chicken
Oh,
thighs.
heck yeah. Maybe you could share some different ways to cook them.
I can do that. Like I just put honey on mine all the time and like just do like garlic powder and honey.
Whoa. Honey
Yeah,
on chicken thighs, huh?
yeah, put it under the
Really?
broiler for about like five, like put it on low. Watch it if you have a broiler in your oven, put it on there. The skin browns and it's so looks so good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because my wife is definitely going to listen to this recording. When she hears that, she's going to be like, oh, brilliant. That's what I'm doing next.
Yeah, I'll throw honey on anything. You ask, I'll throw it on there. I'll try it.
Yeah, personally for me, it's always the smoked chicken thighs. I just don't think anything touches it. I'm a smoker guy. She's a cook inside gal, and so I do all my own meal prep, but she makes them a lot for the kids too. They're cost effective.
Yep.
I mean, they got more potassium than even red meat does. It's just if you're on a budget, man, that's like the best bang for your buck. And then you got all these bones too. You can save those and use them for your bone broth. I'm sure you do that.
Yep, absolutely. It's funny. I actually haven't gotten into that yet. I keep telling myself that like first it's gonna be try some darn liver because everybody wants me to try liver. I'm not ready. And then it's gonna be like make it.
I side on their I'm on their side too, by the way, just so you know.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be. It has to happen soon because my followers are gonna stop following me if I don't try some damn liver soon. And I have to record it and it's gonna be I'm not ready. But anyways,
May I make a suggestion on your
of
liver?
course, please do.
Uh, this is just from a taste standpoint, for whatever it's worth. And by the way, anybody listening, you should never eat raw food. You probably just don't listen to what we're saying on this episode because just don't listen to listen to your doctor when it comes to what to eat. But if you're gonna eat raw liver, the best way to do it is calf liver, and ideally fresh. Like it's got to be really fresh and a really good salt. But when people cook it, it's just like that's what ruins it and makes it chewy and gives it that nasty texture. But it's great, just fresh, just the way God made it.
I love that. That's everyone's like, don't cook it, just eat it raw. Whew, I'll do it. I can do it.
It's just the thought, but once you do it, oh yeah, no, our daughter too, when she sees me eating it, she's like, raw liver, raw liver, raw liver. I'm like, okay, fine, you can have some too. She's 2 years old, 3 years old now.
Oh, now I have to do it. Now I have no choice. The 2-year-old can do it. I can do it. Oh, I love it. But yeah, okay. Sorry. I get sidetracked.
No, no,
Um,
no, that was my bad. I keep interrupting.
no, I'm telling I'm like squirrel all the time. But a full day, so a full work day would be usually in the morning. It's up at 4 a.m., cardio for a half hour, come back. I'm a coffee drinker. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I have to have it. And then it's usually just ground beef and like 3 fried eggs for me. And then it's bananas with honey is usually like my breakfast. Um, Lunch is usually a chicken thigh and sweet potatoes, or it's chuck roast and sweet potatoes. And then I come home and I have either the chicken thighs or the chuck roast and either sweet potatoes or fruit. I eat a ton of berries with honey. Like fruit and honey is what it's like a big carb source for me.
Hmm.
Um, and you'll probably see it a lot on Instagram that I add a lot of like I like mangoes too.
I
Mangoes are
saw that
huge.
on your last one. Yeah, no,
Yes,
who doesn't like mangoes?
I know it's like one of those like it's just if you don't like mangoes, I don't know, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, get out
Just
of my
kidding.
life if you don't like mangoes.
Yeah, like no, we're not just you're not welcome here if you don't like mango. But that's like a work day for me. And then like an off day, it might just be I'm up, I go work out. I always have coffee in the morning. I always have a cup. I'm pretty energetic at baseline, so I don't need a lot of coffee to get me going. I think to me it's just routine. And I just add milk to it now. I was never a milk drinker either until I started animal based. I did not drink milk. And now I drink like I think it's called A2, which is like a not so processed milk. So I drink
Cool.
that in my coffee. And that's it. And cinnamon. Um, and I have that. I go work out. And like today I went, worked out, and I've been home kind of doing things around the house and haven't eaten since. But I will have a big dinner. It'll be a big dinner tonight.
Mm-hmm. That's
And that's
awesome.
it.
Wow, thanks so much for sharing all that. That's really really cool. Honey is something that I'm hearing a lot of. Is that something that you prefer because specifically because it's animal based? I know there's a lot of carnivores that are fans of honey because they're like, hey, it's carbs and it's animal based.
Yeah, it's huge in the animal-based community, which is why I started using more of it. But the fun thing is, a fun fact about honey, if you don't know, if you get local honey, so I always buy honey locally, it helps with your allergies in the area.
Really?
Yes, and I have very bad like seasonal allergies, so I have incorporated more honey. I'm an outdoor runner, so I, am breathing in all that nasty stuff that is in the air, and I am a mess half the time. Ever since I incorporated more honey, locally grown honey, I've had hardly any issues with my allergies.
I'm writing that down in my journal.
Yay! We love journaling.
Flashback to when we started recording. Yeah, no, for those that are listening, Erica is the first person to officially know this. I have decided to always have my journal now, every single podcast recording, because I'm a learner. I'm always wanting to learn from experts that we have on our show, like Erica, and so yeah, no, I'm jotting that one down, and the reason that we're even talking about journaling right now too is because that's actually a topic that we're gonna circle back around to in a second. So you said that locally sourced honey. How do you know if it's locally sourced?
I go to my nearest farmer's market, and usually they have like, and it'll like for me, it's like bees from New Jersey or something like that. It always says like made in New Jersey or something. And I just grabbed that. I just grabbed the local honey. My mom knows like a beekeeper too. I don't know, like my mom's just like this person who just knows like random people. Um, so she like knows him, and like I've learned a lot about bees through her, and like they're like such a cool like we really need bees, and it's like amazing to me how like I didn't really know that until she started telling me more about it. So I want to like go and visit him at some point and like learn even more and maybe share that with the community.
Burt's
Yeah,
Bees.
birds bees,
Putting
I'm
on
telling
right
you,
now.
they're like
Bam.
such like I'm not gonna sit here and say like I love bees. Like I don't want to be stung by one, but they are very important to us. So I think that, it's awesome,
Yeah,
yeah.
you've seen Bee Movie, right?
I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've seen like bits and pieces of it. I don't know if I've seen the whole
Oh
thing
yeah, it
through,
was.
but
I think it was kind of a flop. But it was. Oh, it's like 15 years old, right? But Jerry Seinfeld is the main character, and especially back in my stand-up comedy days, I was studying Jerry Seinfeld's act from like every single angle, and learned a lot from him. One of my heroes. Yeah. Well, cool. You're so your cardio. You mentioned that you start the day with 30 minutes of cardio, and is that fasted, if I understand correctly?
yeah, oh yeah, it's fasted. Yep.
Yeah, because I can't. I'm not really a cardio on a full stomach guy either. Like
Mm-mm.
if I when I eat, I'm just sluggish, and all my
Yeah.
best thinking, best conversations, I mean, best everything in life, especially workouts, are pretty much always when I'm fasted, which is why,
Same.
yeah, which is why 1 or 2 meals a day for me is helpful too. And it sounds like the same thing for you.
Yeah.
That cardio that you're doing, is it low intensity or is it hit?
It's low intensity these days. So I hate the cold. Hate it, hate it, hate it. It's cold. I consider this cold here in New Jersey. I think it's like
Mhm.
40 degrees right now, but it's just like windy cold. It's just, I don't like the cold. So I tend to take a break from running during this time. And I just give my body a break, and my body always appreciates it. Um, so what I do is I do 30 minutes on the treadmill. It's on an incline walk. It's about 15 incline with like a 3.0 to a 3.4 speed, just
Ah,
depending
you're
on how I
faster than
feel
me.
that
I can only do 2.8.
day. So it's these strong little quads I've got here.
It's one of those things that happens when you're 30. Just watch out.
Oh, I know. It's like, I'm telling you, it's just downhill, just going downhill. It's all right. Speeding train going downhill. That's okay. We eat very well, so I'm convinced that I'll be fine. If you eat well, I had somebody the other day thought, I have a brother who's 19. They thought I was his girlfriend, and I was so flattered because I'm 10 years older than him. And I was like, I was like, no, but thank you so much, because if you think I look 19, I'm happy.
That's hilarious. Um, as a paleovore, I mean, we've already talked about this a little bit. This is the next question I was going to ask was, as a paleovore, what are your favorite carb sources and why? Let's talk about sweet potatoes.
Oh, yes, favorite subject. Sweet potatoes are life. Like I said earlier, they are life to me. And I think why I like them so much is they're so convenient. Um, Most of the time they're decently cheap, right? Like you're not spending an arm and a leg for like three sweet potatoes. You can cut them up and roast them. You can, bake them. Like you can mash them. I don't really care. They're so versatile. I
Yeah,
love it.
we've
I
done
like
all the above. They're bomb. They're good.
They are. And
Always
like
take them.
I'm a big ghee fan for fat. So if you like ghee, I highly suggest it. If not, so it's totally okay. Use butter. Um, but there's a Hearth and Soil, I think it's called, or Hearth and something. I forget what the ghee brand I like is, but they have a vanilla bean one, and I melt it and I pour it over my sweet potatoes, put cinnamon on it, and roast them. And I have these
Holy cow.
really good sweet potatoes for like a couple days, and then I'll just do it again for the rest of my week.
Mhm.
But I love sweet potatoes. I love them. I love them. I love them.
Which of the many delicious varieties would be your favorite if you had to pick one? For me, it's the purple ones. What about you?
Oh, I'm just like your typical, like, no, I just like the regular good old organic sweet potato. I don't like do like there's like a white one, I think, or a purple one. I haven't really tried the other ones because I know I just like the good old regular sweet potato.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, for us it's probably a tie between the straight up purple ones with the purple flesh. Apparently they have the most nutrients. Um and then the Japanese sweet potatoes, the Murasakis, they have a purple outside but they're white in the inside, and we get them at Trader Joe's over here. But we'll basically chop them up and then put lemon juice and poppy seeds on them, and then it's basically it tastes like lemon poppy seed muffins.
Yum. That sounds so good.
Oh, and
I'm
honey.
gonna have to try that kind of sweet potato now.
Mhm. Yeah, and then you can drizzle honey on top of it, and in the air fryer it gets them nice and crispy. So
Yeah. I love my air fryer. Depend on my air fryer.
mhm. Yeah, we use the air fryer for just about everything too. Uh,
Yep.
last thing last question that I had on paleo was, what does living an animal based lifestyle mean to you? An animal based and paleo lifestyle.
Yep. So, I mean, for me, it's just being healthy on the inside out. And I mean, this is going to kind of like go into like our next probably topic of conversation. But when I started animal based, I like really truly just started to feel good. Like for like the first time, like I was like, wow, like I have, and I don't get me wrong, on paleo, I felt great too, but there was something different when I added animal based. I just felt like I had so much more energy, so much more like zest for life. I was ready to face the day every day. My skin was it's shiny, it's like glowing. Like I'm like, wow, like my mom, like literally we were at dinner and she was like, she's like, what are you doing different? And I was like, oh, I started this new thing. I was like, I'm eating animal based. And she was like, you look different. Like she's like, you just look so good. She's like, not that you didn't look good before, but she's like, you just look so happy, so healthy. And animal based kind of like put me on this like path to not only just healing my body, like, but healing like my soul, my mind. And like we were talking about, journaling and stuff. That's what animal based and paleo has done for me, honestly. It has healed my body on the inside, and now I'm starting to heal it on the outside too. Like inside out healing for me.
Yeah. The carnivore diet is one of the paleo, any of these meat-based diets, they all seem to have something in common. They attract people for the weight loss aspect of it. And then you start experiencing things like, wow, I'm sleeping better. Wow, I've never been able to think like this before. Like I'm having some really creative ideas in my journal. And a lot of that for me is I can tell when I hit real deep ketosis. That's kind of when those experiences happen. But I'll have some of the best meditation experiences, some of the best prayers during that time, where it's just like my brain is really razor sharp focus, and I just can't achieve that on a diet that is either has carbs or that more specifically has junk carbs in it. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nothing from a box. That's what I always say. Just don't eat anything from a box. No
right.
crap from a box. But yeah, I mean, it's just to me, it just truly just opened my eyes to like, a spiritual journey per se. Was never somebody who was spiritual before in the past, but it just kind of like realized, wow, like I feel really good. And yes, practicing mindfulness is huge in parts of this community. I think some people really, really practice it and some people don't, and it's totally fine. But a lot of the accounts I follow, they are practicing mindfulness, and it's a huge part of this community. And I think mindfulness is so important. I think it helps you eat better. I don't know about you, but I think if you become a little bit more mindful, you're gonna not go towards that crappy food. You're gonna be like, no, like I'm in this
100%.
right? Like you're just in like such a good place that you're like, no, I want to eat healthy. Like I want to just keep fueling my body because it feels good fueling it this way instead of fueling it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Personal opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and thank you for sharing your perspective on that too, by the way, because um that's that's something that I've noticed within whether it's intermittent fasting, one or two meals a day, paleo, keto, meat based, they're all different variants of a meat based diet, and so you're being fed like what you should, and so your body, I think, is more okay with going longer without food, knowing that it's going to be nourished sooner rather than later. But mindfulness, that's something that I'm huge with too. I don't know if you can relate to this, but whenever I'm about to consume a meal, especially a big meal, I need to be in a let's see, parasympathetic and sympathetic state. I always get them mixed up. Sympathetic is flight or fight, right? Okay. So I need to be in a
Yeah, I
parasympathetic
think that's
state of
it.
mind
Yeah.
before before eating. So and that means making sure that I'm relaxed, that I'm not stressed. If I need to take a time take some time to meditate, or just take some deep breaths or something, or literally pet my dog. I mean, just something to relax and kind of unwind from the day. I can't mindfully eat unless I check all those boxes first. Personally, is that something that you can relate to?
Yeah, like, and I'm a big music fan. I like, and you'll tell by my Instagram. Like, I am like a dancer and a cooker at the same time. Like, I love to jam. It's like my thing. So like, I tend to expel like a lot of energy while I'm cooking. But once I'm done and I'm sitting down to eat, I eat in silence. Like these days, like I actually don't eat anymore with the TV on or with music on. I tend to eat like solo and just kind of like in a state of like peace and quiet, and it's like my time to like relax
Same.
because I've always found that I only have a half hour break, so like half the time I'm like stuffing my face. Okay, I gotta go. um but like at home you're like, no, you have all the time in the world to eat. Sit down, enjoy every piece of meat, enjoy every single bite, and
Yeah.
just be appreciative that you can afford, first of all, you can afford this food, that
Yeah.
you're eating, and just be so thankful that you're fueling your body with all this good stuff. And I've noticed that if I don't have distraction, it's so much easier to do that.
It sounds like stewardship of the food that you have is something that you're very grateful for. It's something that something that you really appreciate and you're conscious of while you're eating it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to be thankful that you're fueling your body with the good stuff. Be thankful that you can afford it. Just be grateful for everything.
Mm. Especially if you're counting calories and on a diet too. Like it can be easy to feel sorry for yourself and to go, oh, like I wish I could eat more calories today, but this is all I get to eat. I'm like, you know what? There's people that are starving. They're like just
Exactly. Yeah.
world. You
Exactly.
have a perfectly weighed out meal right in front of you that
Yep. I
has all
know.
the nutrients your body needs. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I've never ever have like counted calories. I've never like trained for a show. But I know people who have, and I hear it's very hard and it can be like very like taxing on the mind sometimes. So to have that mindfulness, I think aspect would probably be very helpful to
Mm.
anybody going through that.
Yeah, the first four bodybuilding shows that I did, I coached myself, and I definitely look like I coached myself. Like you looked at me on stage and like he probably doesn't have a coach. uh, and I basically made my eating disorder 10 times worse doing that too. So hiring a coach for my next four shows, that's when I ate basically nothing but sweet potatoes as far as a carb source goes, because they're just freaking good. And there's a million different things that you can do with them. And they definitely were the best for my performance and joint health, all those things. But having somebody else take all the guesswork out of it for me was huge until it just became basically what I do for a living now.
Yeah, that's amazing though. It's amazing. And you know that you said you had like an eating disorder.
Oh, big
And
time. Yeah. I used to
yeah,
binging and purging bad, really.
okay.
And this diet for me has been very therapeutic. So I'm curious if you can relate to that.
I can. So I don't have like an eating disorder, but I have body dysmorphia.
Oh,
So for me, like it's been it's so rough, and it's not something I share with many people. It's not something I like. I'm like, yeah, hey, like look at me, I have body like, but it's sometimes it used to be hard for me to like see past what I'm seeing in the mirror. Like I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but everybody else is seeing something completely different.
big
So
time.
switching over to like animal based, like it's when I truly started to see that, oh my God, like you're in shape, girl. Like you're okay. It's okay. Like you can relax. Like stop being so hard on yourself. And that body dysmorphia, and I'm sure you can relate to this, you just put so much
Because
pressure.
I have that too, by the way. So sorry, continue.
Yeah. So you just like put so much pressure on yourself to eat right all the time. And like God forbid you go to dinner with your friends, like it would just be like so like I would feel bad about that and put so much pressure on myself for like days. Like I had one bad meal and I'd be like, oh my God, like you need to work this off 10 times harder in the gym this week. Like so like it was like this constant like battle in your head. And switching over to animal based, I'm like, I eat like this like 80, probably even more than that percent of the time. So if I want to go enjoy dinner with my friends, like now I can do that and I can come home and be like, I'm fine. Like I don't need to worry about this. But that took years. Like that's not something that happened overnight with animal
No,
based.
no, it takes forever to get it.
Yeah.
It's a dark, shameful pit. Shame is always what I felt like whenever I would fall off the wagon and have like a bad binging and purging episode. Um, and thanks for being willing to share this kind of stuff too, because I mean this is stuff that really everybody deals with to some sort of degree, and I think there comes a point where you have to look in the mirror and just go, you know what, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
This isn't who I am.
Right.
Has eating red meat for you, you keep saying red meat, which I love that. It's a beautiful word. I think that everybody should say red meat more often. I think red meat more often. But has having a specific diet, the way that you eat, been healing to the point to where now you see it more as fuel and less as entertainment and an escape from reality and an answer to stress, and maybe that's been contributing to how you see yourself?
Yeah, I do. I think so. It's like a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, you're on this diet," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
it's not a diet. It's not. It's like it's my life. It's my lifestyle."
Yep.
And I made an Instagram about it, and I had like no idea that like it would be so like I had no idea that this community existed, first of all, and like to make an Instagram and then become a part of something so beautiful. Like it's not even like this is to me, it's like this is my lifestyle and it has helped me tremendously in
Mhm.
more ways than one.
Yeah.
Um, like I like the benefits are like so phenomenal to me and mind blowing that I still can't believe like I can't believe I'm sitting here right now talking to you.
And then when you find somebody else that eats the same way and that kind of has the same experiences and everything, it's like, you know what? There's a lot of us. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I mean, sugar is a drug, and like I think to some degree, a lot of people are addicted to it. That don't, maybe not everybody. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but personally, I just looked in the mirror. I was like, okay, I'm trying to stop eating sugar and I can't. That's a problem. Um,
Yeah.
and then you look into studies and see that it's actually more addictive than crack cocaine. They proved that in a rat in a rat study, and and to realize, you know what? I think that there's a deeper level of truth and a powerful message that just needs to be shared more. And that's the cool thing about the low carb community, or I mean, and the paleo community too, which is like kind of a low carb is it feels like it's a rising tide that raises all ship and we're all on the same team. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I know, and I agree with that. And it's a lot of people in this community also don't like vegans, and I get it. But I always say, listen, some people probably can't eat meat. I'm sure there are people out there who cannot digest it. And it's all I'm all as I've said before, all positive vibes all day, every day. I'm all about if it works for you in your life, cool.
Yep.
But please do not say that my lifestyle isn't good because I don't care. That's how I feel. I'm like, I listen, if I don't care what you do, don't care what I do. Red meat's not the enemy, but sugar across the board should be called the enemy. I
Mm.
don't care what diet you follow, you should not be eating sugar all the
Yeah,
time.
that's basically something that all of us can agree on. Like even
Yeah.
the vegans are on board with this on this one. It's like sugar is the devil. That and polyunsaturated seed oil fats. Yeah,
I was just about to say, and I was like, and for the love of God, don't eat a seed. Like, don't
that
eat
might be
seed
worse.
oils. Like, I mean, paleo, you can have nuts on them, like cashews. I always say cashews are my vice. But you'll never see me like, I think there's like cashew oil out there. I'm like, I am never going to put cashew oil on anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not like a highly processed, no, thank you. I don't want that. Like, just eat the raw cashew for crying out loud. But that's not, don't eat seed oils. Don't do that.
Yeah, cool. So we've mentioned journaling a couple of times, and that's actually something that we talked about before we started recording. And here I am with my journal, taking notes on everything that I'm learning right now. What is your journaling? If I remember correctly, it sounds like you've been doing this a bit longer than I have. So, why do you journal? Why do you write stuff down? What does that do?
Sometimes like the Erica thoughts like cannot stop. um, and sometimes you just need to get it on paper. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I just journal like everything I'm feeling that day. And I've been very vulnerable and all about this on my page. Um, but recently I just started therapy and it was by far the best thing. I feel like if you need it, go for it, do it. Some people are
100%,
fine, but
100%.
if you need it, go for it because it has changed my life. So my therapist was like,
And again, you're talking to someone that has an emotional support puppy attached to my feet everywhere.
yeah,
So, yeah.
you
You
know,
can definitely be vulnerable on this one.
everybody's
Thanks for
fighting a
yourself.
Yeah, of course, of course. Everyone's fighting demons. You can't, everybody goes through
Oh yeah.
something in this life. And sometimes people go through more than just something. So I always say, like, go. Like, I'm telling you, the best decision I ever made was starting this. I mean, my life, it's only been about 4 or 5 weeks. My life is like so much, I'm like, my mind is finally like at like this point where you're like, oh, okay. But I was journaling before I went to therapy, and it was literally I would just write like sometimes I'm just writing like affirmations, like I am beautiful, I am beautiful, I am beautiful, like literally like the whole entire page. Sometimes it's just like today at work sucked, like I lost a patient, blah, 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 blah. Like it really just depends on the day. But now, like in therapy, I get homework assignments. So like sometimes I have to journal like, certain things like, or have journal prompts she gives me, and I'm doing that. But honestly, journaling, like there's no bad way to do it. Like it's honestly just write. Like sometimes I'm just writing. Like I don't probably doesn't even make sense if I went back and read it, but usually I don't go back and read it. I just put it on the page and I turn it for the tomorrow. Like I don't, but just get your thoughts out, because having them stuck in here, you're not, how are you going to be mindful if they're stuck?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I just wrote that, mine basically is attached to my hip everywhere I go, and whenever I get an idea, it's got to get written down. And I learned that doing stand-up comedy. I mean, I got a terrible memory as it is anyway, but if you got a good thought, whether it's a good joke with a good punchline, or a business idea, or in your or in your case and my case, because I do this too. I write out my feelings. I write out oh, let's see. Today, business ideas. Heard this on Todd Durkin's podcast. Add podcast reviews to our show. I'm like, that's a great idea. We should have people start doing reviews and put those on the other show. That'd be a good fast way to continue growing too. But if you don't capitalize on that idea, it's gone, and you don't have to have the whole thing figured out. But you're like, okay, I'm onto something. What is it? Write it down fast before you forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I do that too, because with like my Instagram, I'm like, oh, real idea. And then I like write it down. Like my journal is like, it is just a posh of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, mine's a joke too. It's like, you can't share it with anybody. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense to me half the time either, looking back at it.
Yeah, I'm just like, but that's Erica brain. Or Eric. A lot of people like are like, Erica, you're an Erica land. All my friends will always be like, oh, she's an Erica land. And I'm like, oh God, it's not someplace you want to go. Trust me.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Do you find that it stimulates more thoughts and makes you more creative as soon as you start writing things down, and then it's like, whoa, okay, let's not get too carried away?
It's funny. I actually haven't like I used to say I don't have a creative bone in my body. I had come from a family that's very creative, all artists of some sort, and I'm like, I am not creative in any way, shape, or form. I'm the athlete. I'm the black sheep. Like I can play sports, I can run. I was like, but not creative. And I have always it's kind of like a skill I lack in a way, which is funny because it's like if I get one creative idea, I better go on it, because it's not going to come around for like another month.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skullbellz TV, the official YouTube channel of SuperSetYourLife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes. Your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skullbellz TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too, so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
That's where Making Mondays Great Again came from. Like I was literally sitting on my couch and I was just like thinking about, for some reason I was thinking about Trump. I don't know why. It must have been on the TV or something. And I was like, what a great concept. Like make Mondays great again. Like I love Mondays. Mondays are the day. And then like everybody loved it, and I've just been rolling with it.
Awesome. So you're big into positive vibes, and I like that, because we are too. The rule is the first couple hours in the house is getting your mind right. and that's kind of why Taylor and I are big advocates of working out first thing in the morning, is because it becomes a habit. I'm aware of some scientific studies that actually suggest that working out later in the day, your hormones are more optimized, and apparently it's a better time to work out. But just practically speaking, I mean, doing your fasted cardio, getting moving first thing of the day is something that we just preach all day, every day. We don't even open up I don't even look at emails until a couple hours after, I've got a good workout in, got a good pump, checked all the boxes to know that I'm operating on all positive cylinders. Sounds like you probably are someone that has habits like throughout the day to keep yourself positive and to keep yourself from getting stressed. I'm just wondering if stress management and just overall maintaining a positive state of mind is something that you'd be willing to share on, if you have any tips around that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, some days are better than others, I think. And I think that's so important because I think a lot of people, especially in my life, see me as this girl who's always so positive. And it's, I always say, don't put a mask up, because I feel like that's kind of what I've done for people, is I've kind of put on this positive mask all the time. When in reality, there are days where I'm actually like mad or sad or like have feelings. So, so it's kind of like one of those things, like first and foremost,
that's the day where you stay off Instagram and it's like, no selfies today.
Yeah. Like, it's just one of those days where you're just like, I need time. Like, actually, like, I'm like, don't even talk to me today. Today is not the day. But I think it's important how you come out of those days, and that's the positive mindset, where it's like, today may not be a good day, and that's okay, because tomorrow's going to be better. Mm-hmm. And it may not be the best day, but it's going to be better. So it's a lot of like, sometimes it's meditation for me. Sometimes it's like, I got to sit with these feelings, or sometimes it's like, I have to let myself feel. And I think that's important too. I think being positive means you're allowed to be sad. Yeah. You're allowed to not have a good day. You do not have to be happy all the time. That's a positive life. Sometimes you're just like, I'm like sitting here and I'm sitting with my feelings, and I'm like, this is okay. Just sit here and be okay with it, because tomorrow you'll be happier. The sun will come out tomorrow. So it's a lot of like meditating for me. Sometimes taking a hot bath. I tend to take baths with salt, which is funny. Like, I tend to
great. Because that's a very controversial subject, and you're talking to a salt fanatic. You know that.
Okay. Literally, salt is the best.
So is it legit, or does it make you feel better, or is there science behind it? Why the salt in the bath?
So it's a cleanser, right? It's a cleanser. It's actually like known to be like a spiritual cleanser too. Like, I grew up in a very Italian, suspicious, like, part of my family's Italian, and they're superstitious. So, like, how you spill salt, you're supposed to throw it over your left shoulder. I do it every time. So, like, throwing it in the devil's face. Like, it's very like, yeah, it's
I haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Like, this is like the little teeny tiny like Erica things you'll learn. So, salt's a cleanser, it's a spiritual cleanser. But I also use Epsom salts, and they're actually like known and studied to like be really relaxing to the body and the muscles. So it's like such like sometimes I like meditate in the bath, because it's so like, I'm so relaxed. I'm like in such a relaxed state. And if I'm not having a positive day, like, I need, like, I'll be like this, like, I'll be like this, like the whole day. And it's because I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable in those negative feelings. Mm-hmm. And the Epsom salt just kind of like, just like let it all out in the bath. So, like, sometimes you have to meditate that, like, get rid of this stuff, bring in the positive, bring in the light, bring in the white light all the time.
Yeah.
It's just how I like, this just kind of what I do. So I use salt on my steak. I use salt on everything. And I bathe in salt.
I brush my teeth with it.
Oh, really?
I'm dead serious. Yeah. We want to add this to our website soon, but like, honestly, it's probably a couple months out before we get to this. But yeah, no, Redmond Real Salt, which is one of our suppliers. One of our supplement suppliers, their toothpaste is out of this world. It is good. It is hands down the best toothpaste that I've ever used. It has charcoal on it too.
Okay.
So because of my history with my eating disorder, I'm now still reaping a lot of consequences from that, and teeth issues are and my teeth health is my dental health. I don't know why I just didn't say that, is something that I'm in the process of repairing. And it takes years to repair damage from binging and purging. But there's charcoal in it. And so the charcoal, it's black, and like you got to wash it all down the sink, but it's been strengthening my teeth better than probably about 20 other methods that I've tried over the years. Has been toothpaste that literally has salt in it.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, it's like my dentist like always gives me like that you have 7-year-old teeth. And he's like, what do you do? And I was like, I floss every day and I eat well and I don't eat sugar. And he was like, there it is. There's the answer. Yeah. There's the answer. That's awesome though. I'm gonna have to like try it now. I'm gonna order some salt toothpaste.
Yeah, it's on Redmond's website. It's called Earth Paste, and the black one's my favorite. And they got a bunch of other flavors. They're all really, really good. Our kids are using them now too. They don't even use kids' toothpaste.
I love it. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Funny story on the salt baths, like because we don't have Epsom salt. It's just something that I haven't got around to buying yet. I probably should. But I was feeling like celebrating one day. I don't know. I think I made like a big sale or something, or got a big PR. Like something good happened. And I was like, you know what? We're celebrating with a salt bath. And I just took one of our bags of Celtic gray, like
that works too. That works too.
Exactly. And I'm like, all right, this is a $10 bath, but man, this is going to be a good bath. And I don't know what it did, but I felt healed. I felt great. And I'm like, you know what? Whether or not science proves it, I could give a crap. I like doing this. This makes me feel good. I'm
telling you, salt's the best in more ways than one. Yeah.
Cool. Ice baths. Is that ever anything that you're not a cold person, are you? So
I have self-diagnosed Raynaud's disease because I like really just my hands will get pale blue like in the cold, and it's painful, which is another reason I don't run in like the winter time, just because I like my feet and my hands will get severely white and painful.
Wow.
Yeah, like the cold, just like my circulation just stops in the cold. It hurts. So I haven't tried ice baths. I have a couple people who have also on my Instagram who tried to push me to try one. I though think it has amazing benefits, so I would love to maybe try like a cool bath at some point. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do ice, but I've heard it does like amazing things for the metabolic system. Like it just like has like really good metabolic effects is what I've been seeing on it. So, and it's a good stress. I've heard it's a good stress reducer as well. So
I say
try it. If you can.
It's daunting, just the fact that you know you're gonna do it, but after for me it's always 10 minutes. My body's just radiating heat, my joints feel great. It releases a lot of endorphins in your brain too, to where like my mental state and just overall sense of well-being for the next couple hours is just phenomenal. So darn, that's really unfortunate that trying to think of a workaround for you to be able to do it without having those issues. But yeah, sorry, nothing.
Yeah, like yeah, no, I know. It's like maybe I can try like a cool bath, like maybe get my body used to it. But like, oh man, it's so painful when my body, like when the fingers don't get the circulation anymore.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. It's been extremely helpful, extremely eye-opening. One more thing that I know this is kind of off topic, but I wanted to circle back around to something that we were touching on before. And that is, so I'm definitely gonna have to make a note to edit that because I totally forgot what it was. Oh yeah, you know what? No, heck, screw it. We're not gonna edit that. Low intensity cardio versus high intensity cardio. Is that something that you prefer low intensity because it's keeps you more of a fat burning state and keeps those glycogen stores more readily available for your workouts? Because high intensity cardio is very glycolytic, right? So personally for me, whenever I do HIIT cardio before a workout, I basically just ruin my workout because I just lost glycogen. Right. So is that why you keep it low intensity?
I do. And it's like, because I tend to focus my winters on building muscle. right? So, for me, it's a little more important, like, to keep it low intensity, because if I'm doing high intensity cardio, like, I may be like wiped for 24 hours and my lift the next day may not be a good lift. But that's what's important to me right now in my training is I'm trying to build lean muscle, because once spring and summer comes around, I'm going to start running more again. So I'll start to like really, really lean out. And that's more important, because running is going to be, although it's, it might be a little more higher intensity just for me, because I could be sprinting some days. Like some days I sprint, some days I just run. Because if I'm training, I haven't trained. I did one half marathon. I go back and forth about training for
You know what they say, if you can do a half marathon, you can do a
you
full
could
marathon.
do a full. I know, maybe one day. Maybe one day.
You let me know when that day is, and we'll see if our calendars are the same. And because we got Mimi, one of our clients. Oh my gosh, she's from New Jersey too. She lives in New Jersey, and we don't have a date yet, but we're trying to figure out when we're gonna do this marathon. So
I love it. Maybe I'll join.
maybe like around August-ish. I'm not gonna be able to do it until then.
That's fine. That gives me plenty of time. But yeah, if you do 13.1 miles, you can do 26. It's no big deal.
It's just 13 more miles.
13 more miles. That's it. But so for me, yeah, I like just doing the low intensity for right now, just because it helps, it helps keep the fat down. It helps all that. But I have more energy to put into lifts, to heavier lifts. So for me, it's just a little more important.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
And I struggle with body dysmorphia too. I think again, it's one of those demons that I think a lot of people have to some degree. And if you're listening to this, maybe you have it, maybe you don't. But if you do, going for a run, I feel great knowing that I did my body a good service to start the day. Just first thing, without even thinking about it, it's got to be habitual, because if you stop and think about it, you're going to talk yourself out of it and be like, no, I don't have time to do it. But you have to do it, because then everything else throughout the rest of the day, you're going to feel better. You're going to be better at it. You're going to feel more confident in yourself. And just knowing that, I don't, I have to say this very delicately, because you made a comment earlier that I really admired. In this recording, it was like 5 or 10 minutes, and you said something about how I mean, if you like the way you look, hey, who am I to tell you whether that's right or wrong? Personally, I like having muscle, and I like being able to see it, and fat kind of gets in the way of that, right? So just knowing that I'm starting the day in a fat burning state, regardless of how much I did, it feels like I started the day off with a win. Is that something that you noticed too?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, when I have like a good pump from a workout, I'm like, I feel great today. And and that's so important. Like I said, I'm not going to be somebody who judges you. I'm going to be happy for you. Like, and I think everybody should have that mindset. It's just be happy for people. You don't have to like them. I'm not going to walk around and be like, I love everybody. No, not at all. But I'm happy for them. If you're happy, I'm happy for you. However you eat, however you work out, it works best for you and you're living a healthy lifestyle, and the doctor is not like, time's a ticking. If you don't get something, if you don't change something, then who am I to judge? Who am I?
Have affirmations been something that has helped you in that area too?
Yeah, you should see my mirror. My mirror has like Post-it notes all over all over it.
Taylor and I went through a phase where we did the same thing, and it got us through some tough times, and it was it was a great way to just start from scratch, from the bottom up, build some confidence, and learn how the subconscious mind works, right? Because when you repeat that over and over, you believe it.
You do. Like, just look in the mirror and just be like, say an affirmation over and over and over again, and like realize how much better your day starts. Like, I honestly didn't believe in that nonsense at first. I was like, oh, who are you trying to fool? Because it's not me. And then I started it and I was like, oh, should never have thought of it that way. And that's on me for prejudging people. See, that's what happens when you do that. Like, being like, oh my God, you do affirmations and your life got better. Get out of here. And then I started it and I was like, okay, you were onto something.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you I can't tell you how much I respect you for not just the way that you live, because I know it takes discipline, but because of, I mean, you clearly have a heart for other people. And I just want to thank you for sharing, and not just and not just talking about your life and your story or anything, but there's a genuine sense of concern in your voice to where I can tell that it's like you care about people. You really, really do. And you're really hoping that this message is something that's helpful. I mean, you're a freaking nurse, for crying out loud. So of course you care about people. Last thing is superset your life. That's the theme of our podcast, obviously, right? And you know what a superset is. You do an exercise, you do another exercise, and you rest. And and it's amazing how when you do a set of bicep curls, oh wow, now I have a pump and I'm actually stronger on the bench press because I just did a set of curls, right? So with that in mind, has your paleo lifestyle, your meat-based lifestyle, treating your body right, has that made you has starting with you and your body, and getting yourself right first, has that made you a better nurse? Has that made you better in other areas of life? Like, has that helped your relationships? Has
Yes.
it spilled over in that regard?
100%. At first, it's healing the relationship I have with myself.
Mhm.
And that's always number one. I teach every parent of a kid I'm taking care of that you cannot take care of your kid if you're not taking care of you first. It's impossible. You cannot fill, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Right.
So absolutely. So I cannot show up for everybody here in my community if I'm not filling my own cup first. So absolutely. So eating animal based and healing myself and then starting on a mental health journey and healing all of that stuff. Absolutely. Like it has literally superset my life. Like it has, like it's put me on this like beautiful like path that I didn't even know existed. And then, it's just like there's so much more growth too. Like there's so much more to grow and learn from everybody. And I think that's so important too. But yeah, like my relationships with my friends, with my families, have they changed? Yes. Have I lost people? Absolutely. There's people in my life who literally will roll their eyes knowing I'm on a podcast right now talking about this stuff. But that's why they're
Same too, by the way. I know.
Yeah. Like they would just be rolling their eyes at me. But you know what? That's okay because they're actually not part of my life anymore. Do you know what I mean? So have I lost some because of this? Yeah, but has it been a good loss? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really bold to say. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about being honest. Be honest. Be yourself. You only get one you in this life. There's only going to be one Erica Duffy in this life. So here it is. Here she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my relationships that I do have and still have because I've changed my lifestyle, have improved greatly because I've improved myself and I'm showing up better for people and I'm showing up as a more authentic version of myself because I don't think I was authentic before I started this. So I think I'm showing up more authentic and it's being, it's being appreciated for the ones who are willing to stick around.
Yeah. It sounds like this sounds very cliche, and the way that you just worded everything was wonderful. Actually, thank you so much for sharing it. I mean, you just put superset your life into into a very unique and very helpful perspective. But so when it comes to, sorry, I'm trying to think where I was going with that. It's been a long conversation with a lot of breakthrough moments. I feel like
we've been a little raw. It's a raw conversation, but a good one.
yeah. I'm sorry, but anyway, I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that perspective because that really is I think what the gym and what having a good meal plan and a good, not a diet, but a lifestyle like you described is, I think that's only the beginning of what it does for the rest of your life and what you decide. But sorry, on other people's opinions, it sounds like you're placing your priority and your priorities and what's right ahead of other people's opinions, which is extremely hard to do and is way easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
And I can't imagine that was an easy decision for you to make, to go, you know what, this relationship is important to me, but maybe it's toxic and maybe it's getting in the way of the goals that I need to that I need to focus on, and in the way of the truth, and what I know and what I feel and what I know for sure is intuitively right.
Yeah.
And if somebody can't jump on board with that and doesn't and it gets mad at you because you're not eating sugar, that's, first of all, that definitely proves that sugar is a drug, and that and I think you need some better friends if you're listening to that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Find a better community. Trust me. They're out there. Trust me.
Yeah. One of the books that Taylor and I read when we were kind of new into our marriage was Boundaries, because you've heard of that book.
Well, I haven't heard of that book, but my God, are boundaries important? And I am myself just learning how to set them.
Yeah, it's it's hard, and there's so much gray area, but if you have a goal, and if you have a vision for being in the best shape of your life, or for being the healthiest version of yourself, and someone's not excited about that, that doesn't sound like a good relationship to begin with, and maybe it's just time to move on.
Yep, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
So speaking of moving on, I so respect your time. And
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like this interview was great, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. I'm sure I'm gonna catch a whole bunch of nuggets when I go back and edit it. That's usually what happens. But yeah, where can people go to find out more about you?
Duffy the Paleovore on Instagram. That's my number one. Duffy the Paleovore. That's how you can reach me, DM me, anything. That's how you get in touch.
And you specialize with working with children, from what I understand.
Yeah, pediatrics is where it's at for me. Special populations, I've worked with it all, so I love it.
Yeah, no, and dead serious. After I hit stop on this record, we're talking on that subject too, because we got kids, and it sounds like you might be able to you might be able to help to establish even some more, positive rituals and the things that we were talking about before, because we're all about positive rituals here and positive reinforcement. So if you are a listener, definitely follow Erica, and thanks for listening. Share the episode if it was helpful. Erica, again, thank you so much for your time, and I would love to talk again real soon.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us on this entire episode. We asked if you found this helpful or entertaining that you'd please just share this with a friend. Think of someone that you know that likes to eat meat, someone that wants to be healthy, someone that's a runner, someone that's a lifter. Any of those of any of the above would probably be a good person to share this with. So thanks so much. I'm going to turn things over to Mark Ennis right now from Ireland. Big announcement. This man just got off the phone with him right now, and basically made all the plans yesterday, but he's going to do his first ever bodybuilding competition on the ketogenic diet. And he is a keto coach, a carnivore coach, very, very good at what he does, about what he does, about 30 times smarter than I am. That probably doesn't surprise you very much, but he went ahead and shared something on his story that I totally asked if it was okay if I shared it. But yeah, he's going to be flying in from Ireland to do his first ever bodybuilding show on the exact same date as Taylor. So big announcement. We're amped about this gentleman, and we just can't stop talking. So you're going to hear a lot more from this guy, Mark. This is someone that I'm learning a lot about what the carnivore diet and the ketogenic diet can do for overall health. Like, great, we're the bodybuilders. We've pretty much mastered that. That's definitely our niche. When it comes to carnivore bodybuilding, that is. But when it comes to, looks like my son would like to say hi. Want to say hi, buddy? All right, we'll play with magnets after we're done with the recording. Cool, pal? Thanks, man. But anyway, this gentleman, Mark, is just someone that I've really, really learned a lot from lately, and I have so much respect for. So you're going to see a lot of him on our YouTube channel. If you're following us on Instagram, great, because we're going to be doing lives, and he's a big blessing to our community in a big way. So anyway, I'm just going to turn things over to him. He's going to say a couple things that I think are really going to motivate you and end this podcast on a good note. Cool. God bless. Thanks again, everybody, so much for joining. And whatever you're hitting today, crush it. Finish strong. Let's go. Woo!
Yes, my people, what's going on? Hope you're all well. So, what are 24 hours I've had? I'm sure you know by now. In November, I'm going to compete in my first bodybuilding competition. It's maybe 10 years too late, but who knows? something that I've always wanted to do. So a few of you have been asking me today, like, why now? Like, why have you made this decision? Why didn't you not just do it yourself, or why did you not do it yourself instead of getting a coach in? Okay, so why now? Why not? So in the past, things were quite difficult for me because the timing was wrong. Katie was very, very young. I was only starting my business, so everything was going pretty much in the right direction for me. So heading on stage would have been pretty much the wrong idea. So, and plus I wasn't mentally ready for it. Something like bodybuilding, you need to make sure you're going head in, like 100%. But not only that, anybody who knows me personally will tell you that if I do something, I'm going to do 110%, no matter what it is. Like, I'm always going to jump in. I've always had that mentality that just go head in and just nothing get in your way, and give it your all. So I felt this was the right time for me. I was at the right age. I had this discussion with Linda, I'd say about 2 months ago, and I said, well, I'm thinking about it. But I never rushed into it. I never rushed into the decision. I said, right, I'm going to take my time, and I'm definitely going to get a coach in, 100%. So for me, that spark was beginning to run out. That flame was beginning to run down. I enjoyed what I was doing, like working with clients. It was amazing, but I felt, for me, I could do a lot more. And I felt that I need a challenge. And the only way I'm going to get a challenge is by getting someone in that's basically more educated than me and that can push me into being on stage, because I've never been on stage ever, and also I'm a lifestyle coach, not a bodybuilding coach. Also, I needed that accountability. My days are extremely busy, so the last thing I want to focus on is a competition and putting all my effort into that. I'd rather just have somebody there that can take all that stress away from me, look after my food, look after my training, look after my diet, look after my results, photographs, all that kind of stuff. And he just sends me on, visualizes what I need to do pretty much every week, and I just go ahead and just pretty much get it done. This just wouldn't be sustainable if I did it all on my own. If I was doing what I'm doing now, working with clients, with the boot camps and all that kind of stuff, family life, social life, and then taking all this on my own, it would have been way too much. So this is the reason why I think I made the right decision, making an investment, and that was the key word here, the investment in me. It was a big investment, but something that I don't think I'll ever have regrets on, and it's something that I'm really, really going to look forward to. So when the phone call came about yesterday, it was pretty much, we knew what we needed to do, and it's just like, okay, let's get it done first. So jump straight in, flights paid for, hotel paid for. We jumped right in. We're going to design the program, and we're going to work very, very closely on what we're doing, and we're just going to nail it. We're going to do as much as we can, and I'm pretty sure then I can always look back and say, yeah, you did that. It was always something that you wanted to do. But not only that, I'm going to step on stage and I'm going to make my family proud. I'm going to make my mother proud, make my father proud, and make Katie proud. I want to make sure, like I've always said, that my goal and my ambition is to always make sure Katie sees me as a role model. I've always said it. That's what gets me up every day. That's what gets me the juices going. It's just making them proud every single week. She sees me working. She sees mommy working. That's the kind of life I want Katie to see us doing. So all in, we're ready to go. We're going to start it on Monday. I'm going to take you on the journey with me all the way through this, and let's just get it done. Just one more thing, guys. When you're choosing a coach, I can't emphasize this enough. Do your research. Okay, you must do your research. It took me nearly 7 weeks to find the person that I'm working with right now. I did not rush it. I made sure I knew everything about this person first, everything, before I made that decision to say, right, I'm going to hand my money over to you. Do your research. Don't look for quick fixes. You look for quick fixes, it's going to put a hole in your pocket.